Welcome to The Silent Truth, where real stories meet real lessons. Sometimes, the people we give everything to, forget where they came from. And sometimes, life has its own way of reminding them what truly matters. This is the story of a father who gave his son everything, even a $1.2 million home, only to be cast aside. But his son didn't know that the house came with something more valuable than money. Something that would change his life forever. Music fades, soft pause. Narrator. David Thompson was 63 years old when he decided to give his son the greatest gift a father could offer: security, comfort, and a legacy. He had worked for over 40 years as a construction contractor, saving every penny, sacrificing vacations, hobbies, and even his own dreams to build a better future for his only child, Michael. David lost his wife, Clara, to cancer when Michael was just 15. From that day on, David poured everything into raising his son right. He promised her, holding her hand in that hospital room, that he'd make sure their boy would never struggle. Soft violin music plays. Narrator. And he did keep that promise. David worked long nights, took every job he could find, and eventually managed to build a small but successful contracting company. By the time he turned 60, his business was thriving, and so was his pride in his son. Michael had just graduated with a degree in business management. He was ambitious, confident, and full of ideas. He often told his father, "Dad, I'll make you proud one day. I'll take our name higher than you ever imagined." David would smile, his heart swelling. He thought, "My boy's got it all: youth, dreams, and a clean start." He didn't realize that success can change people faster than failure ever could. Soft piano notes. Narrator. 3 years later, David decided to retire. He sold most of his shares in the company, keeping just enough for himself to live comfortably. And then, he made a decision that surprised everyone. He bought his son a $1.2 million home. A beautiful, modern house in one of the best neighborhoods in the city. A place where Michael could start his own family, entertain friends, and live the life David never had. When he handed Michael the keys, the young man's eyes widened. "Michael, Dad, you're serious? This is mine." David smiled. "Yours, son. You've worked hard, you deserve a head start. Your mother would be proud." Michael hugged him, tears in his eyes. "I'll never forget this, Dad. Never." But promises are easier made than kept. Transition music. Low, reflective tone. Narrator. A year later, everything started to change. Michael had married a woman named Sophia, beautiful, elegant, but with a sharp tongue and sharper pride. She came from money, or at least she liked to act like she did. At first, David thought she was just adjusting. But soon, he noticed she didn't like him being around too much. Whenever David visited, she would sigh or roll her eyes subtly. She'd whisper things to Michael when she thought he wasn't looking. Still, David stayed kind. He'd bring over groceries, help fix things around the house, even mow the lawn when Michael was at work. He never wanted to be a burden. He only wanted to feel close to his family. Then, one summer evening, everything changed. Sound. Soft rain, distant thunder. David knocked on the door, holding a small box, an old photo frame of Clara and baby Michael. He wanted to surprise his son, to share a few memories. But when the door opened, Sophia stood there, arms crossed. "Sophia, oh, it's you again." David smiled politely. "Yes, just thought I'd drop by and give Michael this." She sighed. "He's busy. You can leave it here." "David, I can wait. It won't take long." Sophia rolled her eyes. "You always say that. Look, David, I don't want to be rude, but this is our house. You can't just show up whenever you like." David froze. "Our house." He tried to explain gently. "I know, dear, I just..." But before he could finish, Michael appeared. "Michael, Dad, what's going on?" Sophia smirked. "Your father thinks he can come in anytime." David tried to smile. "I just came to give you this, son. It's your mother's photo." Michael looked at the frame and sighed. "Dad, you could have called first. Sophia's right. You need to respect our space." The words hit David harder than he expected. He nodded slowly. "Of course, son. I didn't mean to intrude." He placed the box down and quietly left. Music swells, emotional piano with strings. Narrator. That was the first crack. Over the next few months, Michael started avoiding him. Calls went unanswered. Messages were read but not replied to. And when David finally visited again, he was told by Sophia that they were too busy for visitors. It hurt, but David told himself maybe they just needed time. Maybe Michael was going through something. Maybe he was overthinking it. But he wasn't. Soft, sad background music. One afternoon, David received a notice in the mail. It was an eviction letter. An official one, signed by his own son. David lived in the guest house on the property, a small space he'd helped build behind the main home. He never asked for anything, he paid his own bills, cooked his own meals. But now, the letter said he had 30 days to vacate. He couldn't believe it. His hands shook as he read the words again. And again. That night, he drove to the main house, hoping it was all a mistake. Sound. Car door shutting, footsteps on gravel. David knocked on the door. Michael opened it, his face expressionless. David, son, what is this? Why am I being asked to leave my own property? Michael sighed. Dad, listen, Sophia and I talked. It's not working. You being here makes her uncomfortable. David's voice trembled. Uncomfortable. I built this place. I gave you this home, Michael. Michael shrugged coldly. And I appreciate that, but it's mine now. You said it yourself, it's my house. I need privacy, Dad. You're not part of our lives anymore. David blinked, his heart breaking. Not part of your life. I'm your father. Michael looked away. Look, don't make this harder than it has to be. You'll always be my dad, but right now, you're just nobody in this situation. It's my home, my family. The word hit him like a punch. Nobody. Silence for a beat. Narrator. That night, David packed his bags and left. He didn't argue. He didn't shout. He just drove away. But what Michael didn't know was that the house wasn't fully in his name yet. The legal transfer had been delayed because of one final clause in the deed. A clause David had quietly added, something his lawyer had suggested, just in case. That clause stated that the house would only fully belong to Michael after 5 years, as long as he maintained a healthy relationship with his father and didn't attempt to evict him. David never planned to use it. He believed in his son's love. But now, things were different. Music shifts, somber but steady. Narrator. Weeks passed. David rented a small apartment in a quiet part of town. He tried to move on, though loneliness haunted every corner. He spent his days at a nearby park, feeding pigeons, talking to old friends, and wondering where he went wrong. Then one morning, his lawyer called. Lawyer. Mr. Thompson, have you seen the news? David. No, why? Lawyer. Your son's house, it's on the market. He's trying to sell it. David froze. He opened his laptop and searched. There it was, the $1.2 million home he had gifted. Listed for $2.5 million. He sighed. So that's what it came down to. He asked the lawyer to handle it quietly. Within days, Michael received a call from the realtor. Realtor. Michael, we've hit a snag. The property can't be sold. There's an active clause preventing transfer. Michael. What? That can't be. It's my house. Realtor. It's not. Not legally. Not until the conditions are met. Music builds tension. Narrator. Michael was furious. He stormed into his lawyer's office, demanding answers. And that's when he learned the truth, that his father still technically owned the property, and that his behavior had violated the very terms needed to claim it. For the first time, Michael realized what he had done. He had thrown away not just his father's gift, but his father's love. He tried to call David, no answer. He went to his father's old apartment, it was empty. David had quietly moved out of town. Weeks turned into months, and the guilt ate away at Michael. His wife left him soon after, blaming him for the mess. The house he once bragged about sat unsold, slowly decaying. Soft, melancholic piano music returns. Narrator. 1 year later, Michael received a letter. The handwriting was familiar, his father's. He opened it slowly, his hands trembling. The letter read, My dear son, I never wanted to see you hurt. Everything I did out of love. The house, the business, the sacrifices, they were never about money. They were about you having what I never had. But when you called me nobody, you forgot something, who made you somebody. Still, I don't hate you. I only hope you learn that love can't be measured in dollars. Take care of yourself. Maybe one day, you'll understand why I walked away. Love, Dad. Michael's tears fell onto the paper. For the first time in years, he realized what he had lost. Not the house, not the money, but the man who built his world. Soft music fades, replaced by the sound of wind and faint birdsong. Narrator. Months later, David quietly donated the house to a local charity that helped single fathers and struggling families find homes. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't need recognition. Meanwhile, Michael sold his car, moved into a small apartment, and tried to rebuild his life. Every morning, he'd look at the old photo of his parents, the one his father once tried to give him. He finally placed it on his desk, whispering, "I'm sorry, Dad." But by then, it was too late. Pause. Silence for reflection. Narrator, softly. Sometimes, we realize the value of someone only when they're gone. Money fades, houses crumble, but love, true love, leaves an imprint that time can't erase. Soft outro music begins, hopeful tone. Narrator. Thank you for watching The Silent Truth. If this story touched your heart, share it. Someone out there might need to hear it today. Remember, kindness is not weakness. And gratitude is the purest form of wealth.